On December 7, 1941, Lieutenant Clarence Dickinson and his wingman, John McCarthy, prepared for a routine mission, taking off from the USS Enterprise. Little did they know, their world was about to change forever. As they flew toward Pearl Harbor, the sky below suddenly erupted in chaos. Explosions rocked the harbor as Japanese aircraft launched a surprise attack on the base. The once peaceful sky was now filled with black smoke and deadly tracer fire. The realization hit them hard. The United States had been caught off guard.
As they flew toward Pearl Harbor, the sky below suddenly erupted in chaos. Explosions rocked the harbor as Japanese aircraft swooped in from all directions, launching a surprise attack. The peaceful morning air was filled with bombers' roars and the sharp crackle of tracer fire. The scene below was one of devastation, smoke billowing from the ships, flames engulfing the harbor, and the sound of destruction echoing in every direction. The realization hit Dickinson and McCarthy harshly. The United States had been caught off guard. The attack was no longer a drill. It was reeled in an instant. The calmness of their mission turned into a desperate fight for survival. Dickinson and McCarthy were thrust into the heart of a dogfight with the Japanese Zeros. The sky became a battlefield, a chaotic whirlwind as enemy aircraft dove in from all angles. Tracer rounds lit up the sky, and explosions ripped through the air. McCarthy, with his skill, fought back, evading enemy fire and attempting to shoot down the attackers. But the Zeros were relentless. Despite McCarthy's best efforts, they soon overpowered him. Dickinson watched, helpless, as McCarthy's plane was struck, spiraling uncontrollably toward the ocean below. A fiery trail marked McCarthy's descent as his aircraft plunged into the water. Dickinson felt a deep loss. His friend, his partner, was gone in an instant. In that moment, Dickinson's heart burned with one powerful desire: revenge. Despite the intense emotions, Dickinson's survival instincts kicked in. The pain of loss would have to wait. His crew was still alive, and they still had a mission. Dickinson's gunner, Miller, fired back, managing to shoot one Zero down. But their own plane took heavy damage. Bullet holes riddled the fuselage, and smoke began to pour from the engine. Their aircraft was crippled, and it was clear they wouldn't make it back to the carrier. With no other choice, Dickinson made the call to bail out. The radio crackled with his order, and as the aircraft faltered, Dickinson and Miller prepared for a desperate escape. At low altitude, with the rush of wind filling their ears, Dickinson and Miller parachuted from their doomed plane. They had survived, but the battle was far from over. As they descended into enemy-controlled territory, their minds raced, not just with fear of capture, but with the need to get back into the fight. They were behind enemy lines, and every second counted. The descent felt endless, with the rush of wind the only sound. Dickinson, still haunted by the loss of McCarthy, had no time to mourn. He had a mission to complete. Once on the ground, Dickinson quickly gathered his bearings. The devastation of Pearl Harbor loomed in his mind, fueling his determination. He made his way toward Ford Island, where the full scope of the attack became clear. The sight was harrowing. Ships of the U.S. Pacific Fleet sinking or burning. Smoke and fire filled the air, and the once thriving harbor was now a scene of devastation. It was clear the United States had been struck a devastating blow. Dickinson wasted no time. He made his way to the commanding officers, requesting to fly again. His desire for vengeance was undeniable. He had lost a friend, and the attack had taken countless lives. There was no hesitation in his voice. Dickinson was ready to fight again. Days later, the USS Enterprise set sail to track the Japanese fleet, and Dickinson was once again in the cockpit. His mind was focused, his heart set on one goal: revenge. There was no room for fear or doubt. The skies would be his battleground once more. 3 days after the attack, while patrolling near Midway, Dickinson's chance for vengeance arrived. His eyes scanned the surface of the ocean, and then he saw it. A Japanese submarine, the I-70, floating on the surface. Without hesitation, Dickinson dove toward the target. Anti-aircraft fire erupted from the submarine, but Dickinson's resolve was unshaken. The pressure was immense, but he pushed it aside. He had one mission: to avenge the fallen A.S. Dickinson's aircraft closed in. He lined up his shot with precision. The enemy's fire continued to erupt around him, but Dickinson remained undeterred. With a swift motion, he released a 1,000-pound bomb. The bomb fell, and a massive explosion erupted from the submarine. The I-70 was sunk, marking the first large Japanese vessel to be destroyed in the war. The explosion sent a plume of water high into the air, and Dickinson felt a momentary sense of satisfaction. It was a small victory, but it was a victory nonetheless. He had exacted some measure of revenge, and in that moment, a small part of the pain from Pearl Harbor was alleviated. For Dickinson, the victory was bittersweet. It was a step in the right direction, but it would never bring back his fallen comrades. It would never undo the destruction caused at Pearl Harbor. But in that moment, Dickinson had delivered a blow to the enemy. The battle was far from over, but this was a sign that the United States would not back down. The resolve of the American people had been tested, but it had not been broken. The fight for justice had just begun, that Dickinson's actions would not be forgotten. His bravery and determination were a testament not just to his own resolve, but to the resilience of those who fought in the Pacific War. His story, marked by loss, perseverance, and an unyielding desire for justice, stands as a powerful reminder of the sacrifices made during World War II. The war would continue, but for Dickinson, the pursuit of vengeance fueled every move. He had avenged his comrades, ensuring the world would never forget the price of war. His name would forever be etched into history, a hero who fought for both his country and the memory of those who had fallen. Lieutenant Clarence Dickinson's journey was one of resilience, loss, and a relentless drive to protect those he loved. His fight against the Japanese was not just a duty, it was personal. The desire for justice, for vengeance, and for the honor of his fallen friends defined his mission. It was this unshakable drive that made him one of the many heroes of the Pacific War, a hero who refused to give up, even in the face of unimaginable odds. His legacy would live on, a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the unbreakable resolve of those who fought in the most devastating war the world has ever known.